Hi, everybody. Welcome back to Schreiner University and right here on SchreinerMountaineers.com. It is once again a sit down with Ted. We initially were going to call this stand up with Ted, but I'm inherently lazy, so that's why we're sitting down. If you believe that story, then good. Okay. Today, we're going to be talking to volleyball coach Jeremiah Tiffin. Welcome back.
Thanks, Ted. It's good to be here. It's been about a year. It's
Yeah.
a good time to do this again.
Been about a year, and I think we need to reintroduce you a little bit. I want to talk some personal stuff first, and then we'll talk the game. You grew up in Canada.
I did, yes. Born outside of Toronto, and then went to junior high and high school in Winnipeg, Manitoba. Straight north of here.
I told you my sister and her husband were stationed there.
Yeah,
in Winnipeg for
Yeah.
a while, and she grew up in Lubbock. And her big surprise was that it was flat, but about 50 degrees colder.
Yes, Winnipeg might be the only place that's flatter than Lubbock, but yeah, it's you wake up in the wintertime and it's minus 40 with the wind chill outside. It's a little bit different.
Yeah. So when you were growing up, what sport did you gravitate to?
Baseball. Baseball is the number one sport. I think I got it from my parents, especially my mom. You know, she had played a lot of softball, baseball growing up. And so I played, started T-ball when I was 5. And then I was playing on some good teams. I think when I was 13 or so, I actually our team won the provincial championships. We went to the national championships. Yeah. It's like our version of like a little bit older than Little League type of thing. But you can only play that in the summertime.
Right.
So you find other things to do. And so one of the things was, hey, if you want to try out for the school baseball team as a 4th grader, you have to try out for the volleyball team. Yeah. Men's volleyball is a thing up there. So I kept playing men's volleyball in the fall because it was a fall sport. And so it was baseball and volleyball. Dabbled in some other things, tried football out, enjoyed it, but it wasn't my thing. But volleyball in the fall and then baseball in the summer, that was it.
Never toured hockey or anything?
We played a lot of street hockey growing up.
So like Mike Myers.
Oh, yes. That car, 100%. That is the most true thing in those movies. No, we would play street hockey all the time. We played pond hockey, all that stuff, but I never played organized hockey, and I think it's just, honestly, we didn't want to get the equipment. Yeah. I mean, hockey's expensive.
Yes,
you gotta
it
pay for
is.
the equipment, the ice time, all that stuff. So, but no, played a lot with it. I can still put me on skates. I can skate, give me a stick, I can shoot, but just never organized.
So what brought you to Texas? Because you went to Baylor. So from Winnipeg, Canada to Waco, Texas, how'd you get there?
Family connections. Growing up, my grandparents lived in Jasper, Texas. So that southeast part of Texas. So we would come here a lot, and my mom went to Baylor University. And so we visited Baylor, and I'm like, okay, I do like Texas. I like this. And so when I applied to some different schools, I had the opportunity to go play baseball at a school in Los Angeles. I got into some schools in Florida. I didn't want to stay in Canada, though I had the opportunity to play baseball in Canada. But then when I visited Baylor, I'm like, okay, this is where I want to go. And so I knew they had a club volleyball team. I could do that. And so that's how I ended up in Texas. And then just family-wise, my sister came to Baylor later. And then when my dad took a job and his thing was, I just have to be by a major airport, they moved to Dallas. And so we've been a Texas family ever since.
Yeah, I was born and raised in Texas, gone for 25 years, but I'm glad to be back.
Yeah, and ours was get here as quick as possible.
Yeah, that was sort of our, and Hill Country was where I wanted to live. Yeah. So, I think every Texan gets Hill Country fever. You've heard of that disease?
Yes, I have heard of that. Yeah, my sister's up in Dallas, and their last little camping trip, they came down here. The Enchanted Rock area and all that stuff. It's gorgeous out here. Like I said, we lived in San Antonio. My wife and I have been married for 10 years, and so we lived in San Antonio for about 3.5 years, and we're like, okay, like this area. And so when this job came up, we're like, okay, we can definitely picture ourselves living here, and we pictured it right because it's awesome around here. It's gorgeous. The weather's great. When it's not 1,000,000 degrees outside, it's fantastic.
What got you into coaching?
So I was always playing in those situations of sports where you're kind of like more of a captain or like a leader on the floor. So like point guard in basketball, catcher in baseball, setter in volleyball, where you're constantly there. So I always had that kind of like viewpoint. And in my Canadian high school, all the athletes took phys ed. It was the opposite of what it is down here in Texas. All the athletes took phys ed, and you learned all these lifelong sports. We'd go bowling, we'd play racquetball, golf, all that stuff. And in your senior year, you had to coach. You had to. It was a requirement. So I coached junior varsity boys basketball. And I kind of caught the bug with that. I'm like, okay, I'm actually really enjoying this. And so I took a year off after I graduated because I graduated a year early. and I wanted to go to school with people my own age for college. And my sister came home one day and she's like, we don't have a JV girls volleyball coach. You're going to do it. I'm like, okay. And so I did that, and I really loved it, and I just kept doing it, and I felt called to do that. And it's been going so well that even though not every season's been a great season, I've been doing it for 14 years, and it's been a blessing and a joy.
What do you enjoy more, practice or the games?
Practices for sure. 100%.
Yeah, I've heard a lot of coaches say that.
100%. The games are great. I enjoy the fans. I enjoy being in that pressure environment, but the interactions in practice are that much better. And so, practices every time.
What stays with you longer, the thrill of victory or the agony of defeat?
If I'm going to choose one, I'm going to say defeat, because you think about all the different ways you can do things better.
Almost every coach I've talked to says, the wins, I'm thinking about the next game already.
Right.
The loss will stay with me for a week.
But I will say this. There are some of those wins that always stay with you. Yeah. And one of them being our quarterfinal win last year in the conference tournament. That stays with you. But as far as like just recovering after a match, it's the losses.
You were at Our Lady of the Lake.
Yes.
And had quite a bit of success there.
We did, yeah.
What did that do for your confidence as a coach?
I think it just reiterated that the things that I wanted to do can work. Sometimes, we try some things, we want to see if they work, whether it's an adjustment with a certain thing or a lineup or something like that. But the things that I wanted to do at Our Lady of the Lake after being a head coach at a 2-year school and then going D1 and then going to Olu, like, okay, I think I can put that all together and take these concepts from here and here and put it together. And it showed that, yes, it does work. And so us having success right there just proved not only to me, but also my family, like, hey, this is something we can be good at. This is something we can be in the long haul, and we can prepare for the future.
Talking to Jeremiah Tiffin, he's the volleyball coach here at Schreiner University. You talked about wanting to come here. You worked at Division I. You were in Division I. Mm-hmm. Now you're in Division III. Mm-hmm. Which do you prefer?
Division III.
Why?
I like there's a couple reasons why. Number one, I think I have a better connection with the athletes at Division III. I think these are kids that are choosing to play volleyball. Mm-hmm. They're not being driven to play volleyball financially, right? And so there's a joy for them being here, and I think I relate to that joy very well. And that happens in Division I too. But I just naturally, it's been easier for me to recruit and relate to the kids here at D3. I also like the fact that it gives me a little bit more family time than at Division I. I remember one year when I was the head coach, we went to New Orleans and Tennessee week 1. Week 2, we went to North Carolina. Yeah. Week 3, we went to Boston, Rhode Island, or something like that. So I'm gone Thursday and I come back Sunday. Now I don't have that. And so I can be we can leave, Friday morning and be back Saturday night. And just that extra 2 days here and there makes a big difference, especially when you have 2 young kids.
Yeah. This season has been choppy so far, but you lost senior leadership last year. We were talking about that.
Yeah.
And you can't just manufacture leadership on a team. It has to kind of grow organically. Mm-hmm. Is that the part that's maybe missing this year so far?
I would say, I wouldn't say anything's missing so far. I think we're just on that journey to get where it needs to be. I think we know what we need to do to be successful. We look at our team from last year, and we had 4 senior captains, 6 seniors overall, 4 senior captains. They did phenomenal things for this program, and they left it in better shape than when they got here. Yeah. And so we knew, hey, we've got a lot of leadership to replace this year, and there's a lot of leadership training that goes on with that. And so we tried to do that, but as anyone can attest, you don't know how good you're going to be at something until you get tested with it.
Right.
And so right now, we've just gone through this part where we've played 6 or 7 matches in a row against top 35 teams in the country.
You have.
And so we can't figure out what we need to work on or what we need to do until we get tested. And we just got tested. And there's a lot of good things that have come out with that. We've got a little bit more losses than I wanted to get, but we are learning from it, and it's going to set us up down the road to be successful.
I think part of that leadership is there's a part of every game, no matter what sport, where you go through a bad period. Mm-hmm. They're on a run or something like that. The senior leadership can pull you out of that. Yeah. And if you don't have that run can be longer. It cascades into what I call a series of negative events.
Absolutely, and we have the leadership. We just have, like, even if you once again, comparing teams is always tough, but like last year with those 4 captains, 3 of them were returning captains. This year, these captains are in a new position. None of them have been captains before, and they are doing a phenomenal job figuring out what works, what doesn't work. And it just, seeing them grow in that process has just been, it's been great. And so we're setting that foundation. We set one foundation last year. Now we're setting another foundation to just keep us going towards next year. And plus, we also have 3 seniors on our roster. That's it. 2 of them are nursing majors. And they are getting pulled every which way because they've got clinicals. They're in the hospital 2-3 times a week. They're not at everything. And so that's just another variable that you have to work your way through.
This is a great time for volleyball because it's now getting national exposure.
Yes. Yeah.
And that's Division I, but still the game has grown and the popularity will extend all the way down to Division III. What's it been like to see the game grow?
Oh, it's been fantastic, but it's also been not something where I would say necessary, but something like a lot of work's been put into this. It hasn't just happened overnight. There's been lots of AVCA, Volleyball Coaches Association stuff, putting it out there. There's been a lot of matches on other channels where we've tuned in to watch to drive the viewership so that we could get it on a bigger scale. And now they're seeing, and honestly, it's with women's basketball too. When you put women's sports at the forefront, people are starting to watch. Like a couple weeks ago on Sunday afternoon, NFL Sunday afternoon, I think ABC showed, I forget, I think it was like Louisville, Nebraska, or one of those matches like that. And it set a record for highest volleyball match on that network ever on a Sunday afternoon against the NFL. And so if the opportunities are being given, people are going to watch because people see how good the sport is, how fast-paced it is, how fun it is, how awesome the players are. So the more exposure, the better, but they've put a lot of work into it, and we're starting to see some of the fruits of it.
I admit I had never really watched a WNBA game. I mean, I did 3,000 NBA games. Until Caitlin Clark.
And she drove a lot of viewership.
Oh, man. I mean, she's the real deal, too.
She is, And
Fantastic.
sometimes that's what it takes. It takes that one player to come in and bring you to something. It takes that one actor to bring you to this director's movies. Man, I really like this guy. It takes that one person to take you to this restaurant. Man, I really like this food. And once you get into that door, you can explore a whole new phase.
Speaking of food, if you had a choice, plate of Tex-Mex, enchiladas, rice and beans, chicken fried steak, or barbecue?
Oh man, Ted, that's a tough question. You know what? Give me the chicken fried steak. Give me, comfort food is great. Give me my breakfast tacos in the morning. I love my tacos.
Mary's
all the way. But man, I do love a chicken fried steak, chicken fried chicken. Just give me some potatoes, some gravy, some beans. Yeah, I love that stuff.
Have you discovered Bluebell ice cream?
Oh, I grew up with Bluebell ice cream.
Okay.
Let me tell you this story real quick. We were living in California, in San Jose, California. We went to Outback Steakhouse, and we on the menu, he said we have vanilla ice cream, and they said Bluebell ice cream. My mom, being from Texas, didn't believe the menu. She had the waiter go to the back and look in the freezer and say, "Is it Bluebell?" Yes, it is. And so she got that. But we used to come down here and visit my grandparents in an RV, and we'd take cases of Bluebell back up north. So grew up with that stuff. I love it.
Hey, thanks for sitting down again. It's been fun.
It's fun being here.
And I've enjoyed calling your games, and good luck the rest of the way.
Thanks, Ted. I appreciate it.
Jeremiah Tiffin, he's the volleyball coach here at Schreiner. This has been Sit Down with Ted, and we'll see you next time on SchreinerMountaineers.com.